We fight for that inch.
Rarely do I see any American Italians eating in here.
But I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you?
Villkoret är att jag får leva.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
Hey there, I am Chris Vognar, culture critic of the Dallas Morning News.
And I'm Robert Wilonsky, the reason for the season.
Robert, can you tell me the true meaning of Christmas?
I can, but I can't do it as well as Linus, so I'm not even going to try.
And you don't have a blanket.
And I'm Jewish.
That's what fast. So we're talking about Charlie Brown Christmas, which Robert just absolutely, I love it too, but this was Robert's passion project. The Jewish guy
project.
Really wanted to talk about the Christmas special.
Yes, because normally we talk about movies. The biggest, best, brightest, worst movie coming out this year. There's a lot coming out at the end of the year. Chirac was your selection for this week.
Chirac, best Spike Lee movie in years.
Right. So go see that.
A Spike Lee Christmas.
And we'll get back to Christmas. We'll get back to the movies as the end of the year gets toward the end of the year. But
what he said.
I felt like it would be we would be remiss if we did not talk about something we've never talked about in front of a camera, which is Charlie Brown Christmas. A Charlie Brown Christmas, which just celebrated its 50th anniversary. Aired Monday night on CBS, but has a local connection in as much as at this very moment, one of the original cells from the scene that we're watching right now, the big scene where Charlie Brown walks the Christmas tree off the stage right after Linus has given his speech, is sitting in Dallas on Oak Lawn and Maple, where it's going to be auctioned off by Heritage.
How much, you think?
Well, they believe it could go for as much as $35,000. Getting a scene of the entire, getting a cell featuring all the characters. It's such a pivotal moment is very hard to come by.
Is it signed by Schultz?
It is not.
Okay.
I'll sign it though if you buy it.
Signed by Robert Wilonsky.
If you get it to me, it's the scene that's literally playing behind us right now. So yeah, I just felt like we ought to maybe talk about it for a couple of minutes.
And if you didn't get to see it, the anniversary special this week, it'll be on again.
It always re-airs again.
Yeah,
it always re-airs twice.
The actual show will
and
air
if you don't
again.
own the Blu-ray,
yeah, get it on Blu-ray or DVD, and then you can watch most of it on YouTube if you want.
You can watch all of it on YouTube, I think,
yes.
right?
Yes.
Yes.
I think so.
They cleaned it up a few years ago, so
yes.
I think the version on YouTube is the one that you watched for many years. Weirdly enough, it was on CBS for many years.
This is the uncensored version?
It's the hardcore version. It's the really hardcore version. Yeah.
So why?
It's not called Peanuts.
I'm just asking you this because this is you really wanted to do this. Tell me let's watch the scene after I ask you this. What tickles your heart so about A Charlie Brown Christmas?
When I was a little kid, what grabs me today is the beauty, the innocence, the simplicity, the joy of the special. I love the music. I can hear Christmas time is here anywhere, at any moment, and be in any awful mood, and it immediately makes me feel infinitely better than I did before it started to play. I love the soundtrack. I've listened to it 1,000 times. I've owned dozens of copies. I obsessed over who played on it to the point where I actually discovered that the credits on it were wrong for many years. Tracked down the people who actually played on it and did a story about them.
Such a Wilonsky.
To the point where I made it in the Vince Guaraldi. I'm in the Vince Guaraldi biography for that detective work. I just want to make that very clear.
Saying.
I'm very proud of
just
that.
Saying.
But I just think there's something glorious about it. And what's interesting, I thought, as I've gotten older, even as a Jew, I am profoundly touched by Linus's speech.
Yeah.
Because it's the one and only Christmas special that airs on primetime network television to this day that acknowledges the real reason behind Christmas.
Yeah, I get chills when I watch Linus's speech. Let's watch Linus's speech. And
Lights, please.
Come right back.
Isn't there anyone who knows what Christmas is all about?
Sure, Charlie Brown. I can tell you what Christmas is all about. Lights, please.
And there were in the same country shepherds, abiding in the field, keeping watch over their flock by night. And lo, the angel of the Lord came upon them. And the glory of the Lord shone round about them. And they were sore afraid. And the angel said unto them, Fear not. For behold, I bring you tidings of great joy, which shall be to all people. For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, which is Christ the Lord. And this shall be a sign unto you. Ye shall find the babe wrapped in swaddling clothes, lying in a manger. And suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of the heavenly host praising God, and saying, Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace, goodwill toward men.
Just drops the mic, walks off stage. Nothing more needs to be said.
The weird thing is, for a thing that was so crude, I mean, when Coca-Cola executives and CBS executives initially saw this, we were talking about this before we started rolling, they didn't like it. They thought it was wildly underwhelming, which is interesting given the fact that this was actually born out of a failed documentary on Charles Schulz, for which Vince Guaraldi had actually done the original music with some small changes. It's intriguing to me that in just watching that isolated scene as we did just now, with out of the context of the larger special, how beautifully it's shot, how beautifully it's filmed. I mean, it's not shot; it's drawn. The setups are,
the lighting,
the side view, and you get to see Charlie Brown's reaction to it. You see the whole thing. It's really beautifully done.
And just before that, you've got the rest of the Peanuts kids kind of standing off to the side, ostracizing Charlie Brown for this sad little tree.
Right.
That he got, and that's all really, and then they all go outside and make the tree into a magical thing, which is also just extremely cool.
I just love the fact that it's about a little boy who wants something deeper and richer than what his friends have to offer, than what he's getting out of the larger environment. And certainly that's sort of what Charlie Brown's always been about. Charles Schulz once said that Charlie Brown is just him. The worst day, if he had an awful day, he'd go home and do Charlie Brown, and Charlie Brown would be even more sad, more pathetic, more desperate, more
Schulz
lonely.
Suffered from depression throughout much of his life.
Very much so, and Charlie Brown certainly is a profound and not at all veiled reflection of that. And there is something beautiful about this performance, this performance of Charles Schulz, this rendition of Charles Schulz that's in this special. The melancholy music. To this day, it's still extraordinary that that's the music that plays in a Christmas special on network television. That jazz score by Vince Guaraldi.
That's part of what freaked out CBS, too.
They hated it. They hated the score. I mean, this was just the antithesis of all the things that had ever been before it or afterward. But it's also one of the most honored, parodied, and things to which people pay tribute. Robert Smigel's done several.
I was going to ask, there's two fantastic ones. The one where the cartoons that Robert Smigel did, the cartoons from Saturday Night Live, the TV Funhouse. He did the one where Jesus comes back and just looks at all of these horrible, commercialization of Christmas and greed and, mega church televangelists, and he's just zapping them and turning them into rats and whatnot. Then he stops in front of a store and sees Linus's speech on the television, and he does that Snoopy dance.
Right.
It's like one of the coolest things ever. I tried to. That is not on YouTube.
South Park, I think, also did. They also did a Charlie Brown Christmas parody or homage. I don't think you can parody something. So actually, I mean, they parody it, but it's the only thing that's ever been parodied with such great heartfelt reverence. Because I think anyone who sees this is touched, and look, it's a staple around my house. We watch it every Hanukkah. So I'm glad you love it as much as I do.
I do, and I'm glad I had a reason to revisit it because of.
You don't need a reason.
Well, I actually hadn't seen it in many years, which is one reason why I was so moved by it this time.
Really, I'm curious. I did not know it had been a long, because I watch it so much.
Yeah, it had been a while.
So it really had a good impact on
you.
Yes,
Robert Wilonsky, good influence.
Good.
And the
change.
talk about the commercialization of Christmas is just so common now.
The war on Christmas.
The war on Christmas, please. And then 50 years ago, I mean, yeah, it was there, but to put it front and center in a big network television Christmas special, pretty ballsy.
Yeah.
On Mr. Schultz's part, on the filmmaker's part, and it's still so pure, the way that it's explained. What does this holiday really mean? And like you said, you're Jewish. I am, kind of a none of the above, secular humanist kind of guy, and I find it profoundly moving as well.
Well, good.
We're not even necessarily the target demo.
No, we're not.
And yet, here we are.
And yet I still have a miniature Christmas tree, the Charlie Brown tree at the house. I have the book on the making of. I still to this day maintain my biggest thrill ever was interviewing Lee Mendelson for a piece about the making of this thing 10 years ago on the 40th anniversary. I have seen this more times than I have seen anything except maybe the Mirror Mirror episode of Star Trek.
It's a Star Trek episode. So come over to Robert's house and watch a Charlie Brown
Please!
Christmas.
By all means, we'll light a candle for the Hanukkah and the menorah, and we'll watch Charlie Brown Christmas.
Hot cocoa with a little bourbon.
Next week we're doing a movie?
We're doing a movie next week.
Do you know what one? Which
I don't know what movie we're doing next week, but it will definitely be a movie.
Maybe they had not The Hateful Eight yet.
No, but we're seeing that.
Tomorrow.
It's like 3 hours long.
It's no Charlie Brown. I can watch 6 Charlie Brown Christmases in the span of watching The Hateful Eight. Probably 10.
Probably be a lot less violent, too.
A lot less. All right, thanks for watching, and we will see you next week.